AITA for being controlling of the household, or my wife because she struggles with initiating things and decisions. My wife Sandra, 29 female, and I, 29 female, have been together 4 years, married for 3. We recently decided to take a break from our marriage for 2 months following a large argument. The gist of my wife's point was that I am controlling, micromanage her life, feels disrespected by me, and needs her freedom. We are in the process of working things out, and I am very committed to trying to change and get back together, as is she. From my perspective, my wife struggles with focus, impulse control, and decision-making. She does have ADHD, anxiety, depression, and PTSD. First, she will always defer to me for making phone calls for her, scheduling most of her appointments, and doing paperwork for her, writing her resume, doing work and college applications for her, etc. I don't necessarily mind doing this for her as it's so easy for me, but I never initiated it. Second, I am the primary breadwinner, always working 2 to 3 jobs to support us. My wife tends to quit jobs suddenly once she feels people are mean to her, so I've had to maintain a steady income. She wanted to take a break from working for 2 years and I didn't bat an eye. I handle all our bills, but extensively review our finances with her. Third, she says I'm controlling about our free time because I overplan and micromanage. I like to run by her what my goals are for each day, what chores and fun things I'd like to do. With so little free time of my own, I feel this is essential towards making the most of it. She never seems to be able to pinpoint what she wants to do. She will voice that she is bored and I'll offer 2 to 3 suggestions of what we can do together, and she says this is controlling. I am a highly driven person. I work 60 hours a week and find most daily living tasks very easy. I thrive on multitasking and hard work. I also admittedly need the house to be very clean and organized to thrive. I grew up with a hoarder and this will never go away. I never mind at all cleaning up after my wife. However, her little brother came to live with us for a year and was a total slob. When I'd tell her to make him clean up after herself, she said I was being controlling of both of them. Thankfully, my wife's little brother moved out and hopefully in 2 months we can start fresh. I really don't know what to think. I'm starting therapy in 2 weeks to explore these issues, but would love feedback as to AITA for being too controlling of my wife and our household because she won't take initiative to plan or do for herself.
AITA for telling my cousin she's severely stunting her autistic son? I, male 45, have a cousin, female 49, who shelters her autistic son, Tyler, 16 male, to no end. For context, my cousin and I grew up in a city of about 250,000 people. It was an incredibly safe area. We'd be out until dark, riding our bikes everywhere, etc. Eventually, the city went downhill, and by the time Tyler was a baby, they moved to a really distant suburb. No sidewalks, no bike paths, etc. It's a little neighborhood that opens out to a 60 miles per hour road, where the nearest business is 3 miles away. As for her parenting, it's just this weird mixture of overprotective and old-fashioned. He isn't allowed to hang out with people unless he writes down the kid's full name, address, age, and phone number, as well as their parents' names and phone numbers. And he has to be home by 6 p.m. Obviously, nobody invites him anywhere. Since he isn't allowed to have a phone or a tablet, his social interaction is through Discord with kids who seem to be equally as sheltered. He says people won't talk to him at school. She's never really encouraged him to keep good hygiene, so he just bathes on Sunday nights, never washes his hair, and he doesn't brush his teeth or wear deodorant. She won't let him choose his own hairstyle, so his hair always looks like that Ethan Crumbly mugshot with the messy greasy bangs. Her only concern is that he gets good grades and maintains right-wing views. Other than all that, his only gaming system is an N64, and he isn't allowed to date until he's 18. Not that it matters at this rate. He doesn't get an allowance and isn't allowed to work until he's 18. I've talked to him about everything, and he's genuinely happy, feeling that his generation is just a bunch of blue-pilled zombies. My cousin was venting to me yesterday about how he doesn't have real-life friends and that she's worried he'll never make something of himself. I pointed out basically everything I outlined here, and she got so furious that she won't let me talk to him or her anymore. I asked other relatives, and they said she's just looking out for him since apparently the rest of his generation gets drunk, sneaks out, and smokes pot. AITA? I'm pretty sure I'm doing Thanksgiving by myself this year. I just feel bad because he's left out of almost all modern teenager culture and incredibly socially stunted. He says he expects to move out when he's 18 and be married with kids by age 25, but that's clearly not happening. AITA for wanting my sister-in-law and her kids to move out of my house? I've been with my BF for 6 years now. After 2 years of dating, we got our own place together, including my stepson who we have full-time. This was our first ever house we each have had without living with parents, family. My sister-in-law lived with her mom, stepdad, and her 4 kids. She's a single mother. They ended up losing the house because of financial reasons and pretty much had nowhere to go, so I told my partner that his sister and kids can stay with us until she gets her own place. One of her kids ended up staying with their grandmother. Anyway, so my sister-in-law and her 3 kids moved in with my partner, stepson and I into our small 3-bedroom house. We made it accommodating so we could all live comfortably together. At first we were pretty close and hung out a lot, but as time went by we started drifting apart. I think it was because of the fact my sister-in-law just stayed home all day, didn't get a job or even look for one, never helped out with the bills or rent, and would just go out on dates with random guys she met online all the time. My partner and I both worked full-time jobs, and every day I would come home and the house was an absolute mess because of all the kids. They tried to clean it, but honestly there was no point because it would just end up going back to shit. I was so sick of it. This went on for over a year. She still didn't have a job and was living here for free. I would tell my partner that she needs to move out, but as she is his big sister, he defended her, even though he was annoyed as well. She ended up getting a boyfriend and would let him stay over at our house with his 2 kids. That's a total of 9 people now in our 3-bedroom house. They would have fights in the house and even broke one of the bedroom doors. My partner and I were so pissed off at the lack of respect they had. They ended up replacing the door, but that was it. I was over it. I started to put a list together of houses up for lease so she could start looking for a place. But she didn't seem interested. Later on, I found out that she was actually speaking to my stepson's biological mother, who at the time was very jealous of my partner and I being together and having my stepson full-time, and trying to come up with ways to try and break my partner and I up. It was the ultimate snake move in my opinion. It didn't work. We had to sit her down and confront her about it. Can't really forgive her for it, but still AITA for wanting them to move out knowing they kind of had nowhere to go and it wasn't the kids' fault for anything? AITA for not going to live with my real dad. Backstory: my 15 male dad left my mom when I was 2. My mom died when I was 6. CPS asked most of my dad's family to take me but all refused for various different reasons, so I went into foster care. I have been with my foster family for 7 years now. They have 3 bio children, 18 male, 15 male and 15 male. My foster mom has tried to keep visitation between my dad's family, but after about 3 years they started to cancel visits, so my mom said that she stopped arranging them as she didn't want me to keep being disappointed. She told me this about a year ago when I asked about my family. About 6 months ago, my real dad got in contact and said that he wanted to meet me. I agreed out of curiosity, really. He told me he didn't know that my mom had died and that the reason he couldn't take me was that he went to jail. I worked out he would have gone 2 years after my mom died, so I didn't really believe his excuses. The reason he was back now was because he just got released. He said that he wanted me to give him another chance and to go and live with him. At this point, I just said I had to go and went back to my foster mom. I've met up with him again and he didn't bring up living with him until the last time when I said that I didn't want to leave my foster family. He got really angry and said that I'm not giving him a chance and he has the right to be my father and for me to call him dad. He got angry with my foster dad once because I called him dad in front of him and it's been an issue ever since. After this, I said I didn't want to see him again and my foster mom said that it was fine and they would support my decision. However, I'm getting called from most of our town. We live in a small town where everybody knows everybody, as they feel I didn't give my dad enough chances and I am holding his past against him. My foster family say it's my decision not to have any more contact, but they are not telling me if it's the right or wrong decision. I don't know if I am just being about it and holding his past against him.